Riot finally realized their new patch naming system was bad, like really bad. Nobody liked it, nobody asked for it, and now they are finally changing it back. Well, sort of. Instead of using the season number, they will stick to their year instead. So this patch is 25.4 and the last one this year will be 25.24. Next year, 26.1 and so on. Simple, right? Took them long enough. Now if only they have listened and bring back our beloved Hextech chest. But one step at a time. Now let's talk about the actual changes, because this patch has some major jungle nerfs, a few buffs and a couple of adjustments that, let's be real, are mostly buffs or nerfs. On top of that, we have got some pretty impactful item changes that will shake up the jungle, making certain champions even stronger, while others might fall off completely. But before we dive into items, let's talk about the champion nerfs first. Oh, and as always, timestamps are there if you want to skip ahead. First up, Warwick. His Q mana cost is going up by 10 at all ranks, but let's be honest, jungle Warwick mains probably won't even notice this. This hurts top lane Warwick way more, which is exactly what Riot wanted. But here's the thing, Riot claims top Warwick players are maxing Q first, but the best Warwick mains already know W max is better, even in top lane. So what's actually going to happen? Warwick top players will just start with the rank ring and move on like nothing happened. I still love this champ, but Riot's balance team is sending him down the same path as Olaf, forcing him into top lane and struggling to balance him in both roles. If you main jungle Warwick, just keep playing him. He's fine. Next, Teemo jungle boss. His E damage got a 20% boost against monsters. Now I don't mind trying to expand jungle diversity, but instead of forcing laners into the jungle, how about buffing actual junglers for once? The fact that Teemo jungle has a higher pick rate than Olaf jungle is just depressing. That said, if you like trolling around with Teemo, this is a fun little buff for you. Don't expect him to suddenly become a meta jungler. Now let's talk about Elise. Riot calls this an adjustment, but here's what's actually happening. Her human form W lost 20% AP scaling, which is a massive nerf mostly aimed at Elise support, but in return, jungle Elise is getting buffs. Her Rebellion cooldown is lowered by 4 seconds, the bonus attack speed is higher from level 2, and her spiderlings do slightly more damage. Overall, if you are staying in spider form, this is a buff. You will only notice these nerfs if you are forced to fight in human form, but jungle Elise, she is still fine. Diana's passive deals less damage to monsters, but her Q and W are getting buffs to compensate, mostly to make her a better mid laner. Will this kill jungle Diana? Nope, her clear is already ridiculously fast, and even with these nerfs, she will still stay S tier. If you're playing her new broken build, which I cover in my short, don't worry, she is still strong. Now let's talk about items, because some of these changes will shift the meta hard. With some mask, he loses 5 magic resist, which isn't a huge deal. So it remains a good situational item. Heartsteel is being nerfed with a 2% damage reduction, which mostly affects top laners rather than junglers, except for Skarner, who is the only jungler who is being played right now and actually builds this item. It's a fair nerf. Infinity Edge is now 150 gold cheaper but loses 5 AD, which ADC players will love. Grace and Kindred will enjoy it too, but the bigger winners are Yasuo, Yone and AD carries in general. And with plated Steelcaps getting nerfed, we are slowly heading towards an AD carry meta again. Speaking of boots, Mercury's reds are now 50 gold cheaper, which isn't a huge deal, but a nice little change. Latest Steelcaps, however, got a 2% nerf on damage reduction, making them way worse, especially considering all the AD buffs like attack speed increase and the Infinity Edge buff. Unless you are up against a ton of auto attackers, just go for Mercs instead. Finally, Unending Despair is getting a big damage nerf, which definitely hurts Diana, since it's a core item for her. Even with her Q and W buff, she's still S tier. She's just too strong right now. In the current meta, jungle dominance is largely dictated by a handful of champions that stand out due to their raw power, ease of execution, and synergy with the most effective item and rune choices. If your champion is using Conqueror, there's a high chance they are really good right now. Well, except if you're playing Lee Sin or Rek'Sai, as they perform poorly in the lower ranks. Starting with the OP tier, Amumu, Nocturne, Briar and Warwick continue to perform exceptionally well, making them some of the best choices for climbing ranking. These champions have a straightforward playstyle, powerful ganking tools and incredible sustain, making them incredibly effective, especially for players looking for consistent results in the jungle. Amumu remains an absolute menace in the jungle. His ability to clear camps efficiently while sustaining himself combined with his game-changing ultimate makes him a top-tier pick. His synergy with current tank and magic penetration builds only adds to his dominance. Whether engaging in teamfights or setting up crowd control chains, Amumu is a force to reckon with. Similarly, Nocturne thrives in the current patch due to his global pressure and strong skirmishing potential. His ultimate allows him to create chaos on the map, shutting down key carries and enabling aggressive plays that snowball leads effortlessly. Briar has continued to establish herself as one of the most oppressive junglers in the game. With a playstyle centered around relentless aggression, she excels at dwelling and securing objectives quickly. Her passive healing and self-sustain makes her hard to punish, and once she locks onto a target, escaping her is nearly impossible. Meanwhile, Warwick remains a solid pick for players looking for an easy-to-execute yet highly effective jungler. His high sustain, strong early game dwelling, and simple mechanics make him an excellent pick for climbing the ranks, as he can thrive in nearly any matchup. Moving down to the S tier, we have a lineup of powerful fighters who are benefiting greatly from the current state of the game. Champions like Master Yi, Diana, Jarvan, Xin Zhao, Guan, and Wukong are thriving due to the dominance of the precision tree, particularly Conqueror. The majority of these champions excel in extended fights, making them perfect fits for the current jungle landscape. Master Yi in particular has been a terror due to the synergy between on-hit builds and the nerfs to defensive items like beta Steelcaps. His ability to snowball games and shred through teams make him a top pick for those who can master his resets and positioning. Diana, despite minor nerfs to her jungle clear, remains one of the best AP junglers available. Her new build is still extremely strong, allowing her to clear camps quickly and burst enemies with devastating combos. Jarvan and Xin Zhao are both benefiting from their reliable engages and early game strength, giving them the ability to dictate the pace of the game. Their flexibility in both full damage and bruiser builds make them excellent picks in almost any team composition. Meanwhile, Guan and Wukong continue to dominate as Conqueror abusers, taking advantage of their sustain and high damage output to control fights and jungle duels. A-tier junglers including Kha'Zix, Viego, Lilia, Velvet, and Kayn require more skill to execute but remain solid picks in the right hands. These champions have higher skill ceiling, meaning they demand better mechanics and decision making to reach their full potential. Kha'Zix, for instance, thrives on isolation damage and proper target selection, making him a deadly assassin in the right scenarios. Viego, while still strong, requires players to make the most out of his passive and resets, which can be difficult in lower ranks. Lilia and Velvet both bring unique jungle playstyles but require precise movement and positioning to be effective. Kayn, depending on his transformation, can either be a slippery assassin or a bruiser tank, but knowing when to commit and engage is key to maximizing his impact. Mid-tier junglers like Kindred, Graves, Garner, and Lee Sin are still viable but require more game knowledge or high rank execution to shine. Kindred and Graves both scale well but need proper jungle pathing and smart engagements to maximize their damage potential. Garner is a niche pick but can be effective when played optimally, especially with coordinated teams. But in solo queue, especially in the lower ranks, you better avoid Garner. If you want to know the best cut tanks to main in Season 15, then I recommend checking this video instead. Lee Sin, while a powerful jungler in the right hands, is mechanically demanding, making him harder to recommend for lower ranks. As this tier list is focused on Emerald and Velo, Lee Sin's effectiveness is significantly lower than in high ranks, where his skill expression is fully utilized. Ultimately, the S+ and S tier junglers are the best choices for climbing, as they provide the most consistent results with strong win conditions. While A tier champions can still perform well in skilled hands, they require more experience to fully capitalize on their strength. B tier junglers are more situational and demand better decision making to succeed. If you are looking to climb fast, picking one of the top tier junglers and mastering their mechanics will give you the best chance at success. Whether you prefer the raw power of Briar, the global pressure of Nocturne, or the consistent strength of Warwick, the jungle meta is full of opportunities to dominate and carry games this patch. Now that you picked the best champion for your liking and want to learn how to climb with them, join my Discord for free and paid coaching as well. My student reached gold in just a month, starting from Iron 3, but after I taught him the fundamentals how to be an effective jungler who can solo carry, he climbed with ease. So what are you waiting for? I talk about all of these things in my videos and I'm always happy to answer your questions. Join my Discord server if you want to dive deeper. I'm continuing my free jungle coaching sessions for new members this year, and for those interested, paid coaching is also available like last year. If you have got questions, drop them in the comment. Thank you so much for watching. A like or comment goes a long way in supporting the channel, so I really appreciate it. I've got tons of video ideas for this year, so stay tuned and I will see you in the next one.